According to new numbers out this morning, Ukraine has lost 1.8 million young men. 1.8 million young men. So, of course, European leaders are right now, and Canada's leaders, of course, are also right now in Kiev begging and urging Zelensky to keep fighting and basically trying to make sure that the Trump administration doesn't put an end to this war, because they absolutely love this war. This is all happening while Ukrainians are protesting, asking for an end to the war. I mean, here are the European leaders, and here's Justin Trudeau showing up there, and you can see the other European leaders there on the train station there. There's Justin getting off in Kiev, hugging the other European leaders, like going to send more money, wanting to continue this war indefinitely, because that's what the globalists want, of course. So this is all happening, by the way, as Ukrainians are protesting, asking for an end to the war. Please send our sons home. Look at these protesters. Take a listen. These are moms here just asking for, chanting and walking and asking for them. Listen.
Sorry, I don't have audio.
Oh, there's no audio. Okay, but take my word for it. They're chanting and they're asking for this war to end, and they're asking for their sons to be brought home from the front lines. But you're not going to see that on the mainstream media, by the way, because demonstrations are forbidden in Ukraine under Zelensky. So these moms are not allowed to be protesting the deaths of their sons under a dictator.
Think about that for a second, because people in the West who display the Ukrainian flag mean they want to support the continuation of the war. People in Ukraine who are displaying the Ukrainian flag means they're Ukrainian and they want to live. And they want their sons and daughters to live. They want the war to end. So there's a deep divide in what that flag symbolizes to ignorant a-holes in the West. I just feel like I should point that out, because when I see that on a bio of a Westerner, I'm pretty sure they don't understand that this war started in 2014. Pretty sure they don't care about the deaths from the Ukrainian Civil War, 5,000 per year. They don't care about that. They only care about 2022 and beyond.
Yeah. And, they want you to believe that every Ukrainian loves this war. Just ask the moms whose sons are sitting there right now as meat, as cannon fodder being thrown into the meat grinder. They don't want this war. And people are protesting Kiev to demand the return of their children from the Kursk front right now. No wonder Zelensky does not like elections, by the way. And this morning, Emmanuel Macron showed up at the White House. Watch this. So here he is, where Trump didn't even come out to greet him. We know where the pecking order is. Like, he gets out of the car. He's like, where is President Trump?
You'll come to me.
Sorry, you're going to come to me. He's like, where's President Trump? I guess not.
No rose bearers throwing petals at his feet.
Sorry, pal. Like welcome to the party, pal. Macron is here in Washington reportedly to beg President Trump to help build a 30,000 soldier strong NATO army force in Ukraine. But in these press conferences and maybe behind closed doors, that actually came up, to which I'm sure the president was saying well, the United States is not going to be involved in putting U.S. forces there. So you guys can talk about however you want to do this, but we're not going to fund it, or we're not going to put American forces involved in this NATO army that you're talking about. But in any of these public press conferences they held today, that didn't come up. So either he got totally punched in the nuts, Macron did, and realized this is not going to fly. So this is all happening on purpose right now. You've got members of the European leadership are all meeting in Kiev, trying to continue this war. Then they send little Frenchy Emmanuel Macron to Washington D.C. to basically beg Trump to create a 30,000 person army, a NATO army, to take over and be in Ukraine. And we know how the NATO armies have carried out all sorts of terrorist operations throughout the years. Operation Gladio, anyone? So that's not going to fly, but we don't fully know the answer to that yet. And none of the members of the press seem to ask that question. So we're still hoping to get some answers from President Trump on that. Meanwhile, overnight, Russia launched a massive tank and drone offensive that decimated Ukrainian positions. Reportedly the largest drone attack since the start of the war, and wiping out all sorts of Ukrainian positions as a result. This was one of the largest. And today, of course, after all of this happens, on the third anniversary of the start of the special military operation, European leaders posed for a photograph here in Kiev as they all got together in there with Justin Trudeau. to take a little selfie, little photograph there. And I like how Amuse put it on X. Look at this. Writes, in Ukraine, it's fitting the EU leaders gathered in Kiev to encourage Zelensky to continue the war they met in Maidan Square, the place where the U.S. started the coup in 2014 that led us to this war. Over the weekend, Ukrainian President Zelensky also offered to resign the presidency in exchange for NATO membership for Ukraine. We all saw this weekend. We're like, this can't be real. And he says,
it's not.
like,
here's the spoiler alert. It's not.
Yeah.
It's a ploy.
It's a ploy. It's like, it doesn't make any sense. Can you read this quote? I got something in my eye.
Sure. He said, if peace for Ukraine, if you really need me to leave my post, then I'm ready. I can exchange this for NATO if there are such conditions. You see, I tried to start that in like an accent, and then I decided I wasn't very good at that, so I didn't do that. I'm focusing on the security of Ukraine today, he said, not in 20 years, and I do not intend to be in power for decades. Really? That's news to us. None of these ultimatums he put forward are on the table. Full stop. So he's acting as if he can make demands. He cannot. Of course, NATO membership, not on the table. The United States did not discuss this in their meeting last week with Russian representatives. Also, he's talking about what?
The grants?
Grants.
Oh, so this was a great part of this. So he basically admitted, all the money that we gave Ukraine, which was supposed to be loans. Mm-hmm. He says, no, those were grants. The Biden administration gave us grants, so we don't have to pay them back, basically.
Right.
Like, I'm sorry, what? What did you just say? The hundreds of billions of dollars we gave you as loans, you don't have to pay them back now? Zelensky
when he
says?
is on record, on camera, on NBC interviews saying, no, okay, you can just think of it as credit then, and we'll pay it back. Now, Trump knows damn well that Ukraine does not have it to pay back, but he also knows that Ukraine is rich in uranium specifically, which, if enriched, is really good for nuclear power. Not nuclear power in order to bomb people, but nuclear clean energy, which was a campaign promise for the Trump administration. That's why he's been saying, I would like some rights to those rare earth minerals that you've got, because we know we're not going to ever see that money back.
Joseph Adama in our YouTube chat says Europe doesn't want to admit that the war started in 2014 and not 2022. Is like saying the World War II started in 1945 when the Allies started military operations in Germany and not 1939. Exactly.
Yeah, good point.
I like this. Scott Ritter tweeted this earlier today, former UN weapons inspector, friend of the show. He said Europe spent over 21 billion euros purchasing Russian gas in 2024. Europe sent 18 billion euros in aid to Ukraine in 2024. Europe funding Russia's war effort while bankrupting itself is the defining feature of European geopolitical irrelevance. The sooner the United States distances itself from this insanity, the better. Well, we'll see. And we'll see what comes of this whole press conference and sort of the post-mortem of Emmanuel Macron coming to Washington, D.C. today, and where things stand right now on the world stage with Ukraine. We'll be watching it. Today's show is brought to you by Native Hydrate. Now, most people know that staying hydrated is essential to nearly every bodily function, but 75% of Americans still don't consume enough fluid daily. They wonder why they get headaches and they feel tired. As we age, natural bodily changes make staying hydrated even harder, especially without artificial additives or excess sugars. That's where Native comes in with extra help. Native Hydrate is not just another drink mix. It's a thoughtfully designed formula packed with BCAAs and all 9 essential amino acids to help with muscle recovery and overall vitality. Plus, it's completely sugar-free and 100% natural. With their Native Hydrate product, you can fuel your body with essential electrolytes at the cellular level for overall vitality. Unlike other hydration drink mixes that are designed for marathon runners and contain upwards of 1,000 milligrams of sodium, Native Hydrate contains just 230 milligrams of sodium for optimal daily hydration. So check them out today. You can try it right now, risk-free. Visit nativehydrate.com/redacted to see what Native Hydrate could do for your health. They have a 365-day money-back guarantee. Try it today, risk-free. Again, nativehydrate.com/redacted.
Elon Musk is now asking federal employees one simple question.
What would you say you do here?
Okay. What is it you do here? And federal employees are freaking out at the indignity of being asked. They feel like we don't have to go to work. We don't have to show up to the office. We absolutely should not have to tell American taxpayers why they pay our salaries. So this federal email went out to employees over the weekend asking them to explain 5 things that they accomplished during the previous week and then send it to their supervisors in a simple email. Seems simple, right? But again, of course, liberals lost their minds for being asked for accountability. They are offended by the idea of a meritocracy. They think that that's racist and classist and oppressive. So if you suggest that they should earn something or prove their worth, that is very oppressive. Well, while we're wondering what so many of them do, and again, I want to point out that the same people who are speaking on behalf of federal employees, they're so valuable, we love them so much, we absolutely should treasure them, are the same people who loved dunking on the ones who refused the COVID vaccine and were fired. And they were like, get the heck out then, sorry. So they did not love federal employees then, they love them now when it's convenient. I think it's important to point that out. Now, just a few minutes ago, this broke when we're thinking about what they're up to, is that NSA and the CIA and other officials were participating in these secret sexy chats. These are spicy.
Really disgusting.
Yeah, we'll call it that.
I mean, just to be clear, the CIA, the NSA, and the DIA used government servers to hang out in a secret sex chat room and discuss things.
Yeah.
I mean, look at this data. Here's the data.
Some of the redacted chats are about I'm not going to say this word, the T word. I don't even say this word at home.
Well, I'll just read some of them. Okay. I'll dance around it. They were just like having open conversations about like genital castration, artificial vaginas, sexual fetishes, gangbangs.
Boobies. I can say boobies.
Boobs. They were talking about, like these, it's all pee parties. Like they were all actively involved in this, like looking forward to it, discussing it openly on the clock with U.S. taxpayer dollars.
Don't you think we should have had a filter for that might have flagged that kind of content? Like, you can't even put this on X.
Here's how they did it, though. This is the thing, right? According to Libs of TikTok, this is how they did it. They were using the NSA's Interlink system, meant for classified work. And so this was like a hidden server that was meant for classified discussions. And it was, they say it was hijacked by gender activists pushing fetish talk on taxpayer time. One NSA employee even identifies as it's instead of a human being. It's.
Mm-hmm. I mean, this should not be all that,
what?
Surprising, given that, I mean, look at the date stamp, right? It's 2022. During the Biden administration, every sexual fetish went, and actually the federal government promoted that through its social media, through its policies. We had a Biden staffer have sex in a congressional room, right, with a German...
in the Senate chamber.
Right, and publish it online because this is what the Biden administration stood for. So is anybody shocked? No. But should we have a system in place to maybe stop that, you think? Where were we? So Elon Musk tweeted this. Well, now we know what these people did last week. That's obviously a joke because the date stamp on those chats was 2022. So this did not happen last week. Very well may have. May still be going on. We don't know, right? The blowback again against Elon Musk has been swift and severe, as in, how dare you ask me what I did? Here is his explanation. He says the reason this matters is that a significant number of people who are supposed to be working for the government are doing so little work, they're not even checking their email at all. And in some cases, we believe non-existent people or the identities of dead people are being used to collect paychecks. And otherwise, there is outright fraud. Nobody should be surprised by that. Nobody
and not even President Trump, when he was asking this conversation came up with Emmanuel Macron today in this little press conference, asking him, like, there's been pushback against Elon Musk and this email that he sent out to federal employees. How do you stand by him with this? Are you going to walk this back? Or do you stand with Elon Musk? And listen to this.
Do you think that DOGE could benefit from more streamlined communications? There was that email telling employees to give 5 things that they've done last week. Agency has then told people to ignore it.
You're talking about the last email that was sent? where he wanted to know what you did this week. You know why he wanted that, by the way? I thought it was great. Because we have people that don't show up to work and nobody even knows if they work for the government. So by asking the question, tell us what you did this week, what he's doing is saying, are you actually working? And then if you don't answer, like you're sort of semi-fired or you're fired, because a lot of people are not answering because they don't even exist. They're trying to find, that's how badly various parts of our government were run by, and especially by this last group. So what they're doing is they're trying to find out who's working for the government. Are we paying other people that aren't working? And, you know, where's all that? Where's the money gone? We have found hundreds of billions of dollars of fraud so far, and we've just started. We're actually going to Fort Knox to see if the gold is there, because maybe somebody stole the gold. Tons of gold.
Emmanuel Macron's like, sounds like a you problem. We're not going to do anything of the sort.
He's like, we got enough of our own problems. All your gold is missing? All right, that's on you guys. Meanwhile, Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy was asked about this because he runs a department that had to answer these emails, and here's what he had to say.
Why did you tell your employees to respond?
I mean, every department is different. So if you're a SEAL Team 6 or a CIA agent or FBI agent, you might say, listen, that's not appropriate to actually respond to that email. But at DOT, I have no problem with the employees here saying, what did you do last week? And if you can't come up with 5 things that you did, you know, maybe you shouldn't be employed here. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Not gonna work here anymore.
I would love to see. It's amazing because it points out if you don't respond to these emails, it's essentially like saying, I'm not actually a human being. I don't exist. And we're just paying these people. Where's this money going?
Yeah.
The amount of fraud is, I mean, it's unbelievable.
And are you above actual work? Are you above it? Like, you know, the president has been listing all of the accomplishments in the first month of the Trump administration because we expect those things for having elected him. So again, we are on Rumble. And if you'd like to upgrade your Rumble to a premium, you can do it right now. And when you do, you're supporting a defender of free speech. You may have heard that Rumble is in litigation in Brazil in order to charge that government with illegal censorship. We know that Rumble had a censorship demands in France and they did not back down and were blocked in France. So if you believe in free speech like we do, then it's a great time to support Rumble. Head on over to rumble.com/premium. Use the code redacted and you'll save $10 off. And again, you'll know, oh, look, that's us on the Rumble channel. You can get your Rumble premium for $10 off. Plus, you know that you are sticking it to the man. Rumble allows us to say anything we want.
Let's talk about this. Republicans in Congress have just one day to pass a new budget or the government will shut down. I say let it close. Recall back in September, Fed Chairman Jerome Powell said this: the U.S. federal budget is on an unsustainable path. The debt is not at an unsustainable level, but the path is unsustainable, he said. And we know that we have to change it, meaning government spending. They've got to pull this back. Just look at this, a percentage of GDP. The federal debt is a percentage of GDP. I mean, come on. It's unbelievable. So here's the deal. House Republicans are trying to push through a massive budget resolution tomorrow that doesn't really cut any money. And is a return to their massive spending habits. We're trying to get a couple of members of Congress on the show tomorrow to talk about this because there's one big problem here. They've got one day to get their people in line on this, but right now it's looking shaky. There's a bunch of Republicans who are saying they're not going to vote for this. The vote is a big if. It'll happen tomorrow after 6 p.m., but the government will run out of money in 18 days if they can't pass this budget resolution. And I'm fine with that. I'm actually fine with that. I know that Democrats are using it as a threat, but you have many Republicans that are like saying, hey, that's fine. You know, even Senator Rand Paul this weekend said, look, Elon Musk and DOGE are trimming the fat, finding billions, if not trillions, in waste and abuse. The Senate is rushing to pass a budget that increases spending. So what gives? Great question. So Speaker Johnson and his team, they're trying to go back and forth on all of this, but you don't have the votes right now, or it looks like you have some defections, particularly. On a lot of this. And so Victoria Spartz from Indiana last night said this on X, that basically she's a no on the current version of the House budget instructions. I have $1 trillion question. Where is the money? $1 trillion. So she says, I can't support this. Chip Roy of Texas also right now. He's like, this doesn't make any sense. I can't tell anybody in my constituency, like, I mean, we have a massive revenue problem. I can't go back and tell them that we're actually going to spend this money, because really it only reduces the yearly spending, but it's actually not cutting anything. And he points out the current spend is $7 trillion versus pre-COVID levels of $4.5 trillion. So the massive spending during COVID, during the Biden years. So bottom line, this is a mess. No funding deal, a razor-thin margin right now, a lot of nervous Republicans. So let's see how this one plays out tomorrow. But I think you're having a lot of Republicans get on board to say we're not voting for this because we need to cut spending. That's what the American people asked us to do. We can't go back to business as usual in Washington.
Well, liberals are now trying to get rid of Mother's Day, especially in Wisconsin, because Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers is backing a budget proposal that replaces the word mother with inseminated person, making us just reciprocals of sperm. Basically, that's
receptacles.
Receptacles of, that's it. Not reciprocals.
Yeah.
I don't have any reciprocal sperm. So the bill would then require the term biological father to be replaced with natural parent, the word husband replaced with spouse, the word male replaced with person, and of course mother. Either would be changed to the phrase person who gave birth to the child, like a robot, or inseminated person, which is gross, or person inseminated, not mother. Okay. This isn't the Biden administration. They can get the heck out of here with that. So,
we put together some cards. So here's I got a couple of Mother's Day cards for you now. And this is one of the ones I bought. It's called Happy Inseminated Person Day. I love you for being impregnated.
By you?
By me. So that's going to be, you're going to get that card.
Because he let me do this to you.
Yeah, here's another one.
More offensive.
Here's the other one that I bought today. Happy Inseminated Person Day. In Wisconsin, you're nothing more than a vessel to carry a child. So how do you feel?
Thank you.
How do you feel, Mother?
Okay. So last year, we should remind you that Governor Evers also vetoed a bill that would have kept men from competing in women's sports. So all of you folks in Wisconsin who think these are still the Biden administration years, he's up for re-election in 2026. If you like this, keep voting for it. And if you don't, you know what to do. Take it to the polls.